The Ramble Football Club is proudly sponsored by Glasby Pallets, offering a one-stop solution for all of your pallet needs. Get in touch now on 01709 585 646 to discuss your pallet requirements. And thank you again to Sonny and the team for their continued support of Ramble FC.
Hello there, welcome on to Top 20 Takes. Myself and Lewis here to welcome you to the show. And looking back at the last week in the Premier League, there's been a lot going on. And we're going to have a look at some of the games, some of the fixtures, what happened, and take you through some of our takes on what we've seen over the last week. Lewis, how are you, mate? Are you well?
I'm good, mate. I'm looking forward to this. And we've got 2 rounds of games to cover. Plenty of goals again. Makes our job that little bit harder, but we wouldn't have it any other way, would we?
No, it's going to be a bit more whistle stop, I'd say, this time, isn't it? We're going to have to go through quite a few different things. There's when we were on last week on Tuesday, there's a few games going on at the time. 3 fixtures, actually, which we're going to start with on this evening's show. Newcastle and Spurs, two for me. I think Newcastle and Spurs are probably 2 of the most unpredictable sides in the Premier League. Never really know what's going to happen or what's coming next. And this game was a decent game. It was a 2-2. Do you remember it from last week? Christian Romero popping up. Unusual to see a brace for a centre-half, but he came back and he scored a late equaliser, didn't he, in this one?
He did. I mean, Spurs with an injury time leveller via what was described by some as the slowest overhead kick of all time. I did watch it back a couple of times. I must admit, I'd struggled to replicate it. Even trying to make it a slow one. But he equalises twice in the game.
The one thing I'll tell you now, the one thing I could replicate was Ramsdale's attempt to save it. In fact, I think Ramsdale was trying to replicate me when he dived to his right-hand side. It was like, yeah, and then it's gone in. Never mind. Best luck next time, Aaron.
In slow-mo. But Newcastle obviously thought they'd won it from the spot with Anthony Gordon after VAR awards a penalty for a foul on Dan Burn. But they come away, with a point, Spurs, and a good point. Obviously, Newcastle have had their struggles away from home this season, so their home form's quite important to them. And so this one finished 2 apiece.
Going to try and do a couple of comments. Evening, Ross. Hope you're well, pal. Jimmy Ramble, obviously, getting involved. He's already been on once, moving things around. And then Ian played, so he's got the dossier. Yes, always with his dossier, mate. That's becoming a thing now. Sorry, that is definitely my fault. That one sticks. And we're on to the basket case game of the evening. Fulham, who love a 5-4, as we remember from back in the day. Man City seemingly coasting first half. And then, obviously, Fulham came roaring back in the second half. Bit of own pride for him there. 5-4. And looking at Pep's face at the end of it, I'm not too sure how impressed he was with the scoreline and overall performance.
No, a crazy game of football. And City led it 5-1 at one point. That was the even more crazy thing about it. You know, the game was done and dusted. Fulham showed some resilience to fight back. And could have equalised. I don't know if you remember when Gvardiol cleared off the line, 90+8. Fulham very nearly made it 5-5. Absolutely crazy game of football.
Yeah, Chukwueze featuring for Fulham, a man with. He looks like 1,000 miles a minute, doesn't he? But yeah, he scored a brace that evening, put his name on the map for the worldwides who watched Manchester City, obviously. So yeah, I didn't really know anything about him before this season. Had you heard of him before?
No, not at all. But the last couple of performances I've really seen from him really piqued my attention. So yeah, looks a player. Does look a player.
And then I say amazing. It never used to be amazing, did it, going down to Bournemouth? I remember Sheffield United going down there and stealing a point with Billy Sharp running towards the fans, quite memorable. A win away at Bournemouth is no mean feat, and that is what Everton managed last week. Yeah, they had it was an assist for escape from Alcaraz, as I like to call him, and then Jack Grealish. Grealish goal. So yeah, a good goal for him. I remember him doing his interview afterwards, and he's Jack the lad, everyone's favourite, isn't he?
He is, and by the way, I dug out a stat from this. Everton's first ever win at the Vitality Stadium. Don't know how many times they would have played there over the years, probably more in recent years, but it's their first win there. It was also Bournemouth's first home defeat of the season. So great result for Everton. I mean, they did their best to make it difficult. I saw large parts of the game. Obviously, as you say, Grealish sealing the win. But they did a job on them. A very David Moyes-esque performance. I know that's probably a bit of a backhanded compliment, but I mean it in the right way. So, yeah.
No, fair enough, mate. And then we've got Liverpool, Sunderland. The Sunderland revolution continues. Are they going to plunder their way into Europe? And I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they have gate crashed this division, especially the top half, haven't they, really? So fair play to them. And Liverpool's struggles continued. 1-1 at home to Sunderland.
Yeah, lucky escape here for Liverpool. Talby opens the scoring after a Van Dijk error allows Lafay to team up, and a deflection off Mukiele for an own goal spares Liverpool, who almost win it at the end. Would have been hard on Sunderland, who I thought, looking at the stats and just the eye test as well, seeing large parts of the game, I thought they played pretty well, and they impressed again, as they have done all season so far.
Oh, what happened there? Something happened to my sound there. Sounded like the old dial-up internet for a sec there. Never mind. Yeah, and then the surprise result, the Ackerbuster. Could Leeds United come again? And renewed hope, surely, for the Whites. What do you think, mate? 3-1 at home to Chelsea. Even the most staunch Leeds fan would have been sceptical about that kind of result, wouldn't they? Surely that's really, really good from them.
Yeah, excellent. I mean, what a win for Leeds in a game where they had 29% of the ball, but did so much more with it than the visitors did. Bijou, Tanaka, and Calvert-Lewin with the goals. Great win for Leeds, and in the middle of a very good week for them, as we'll go on to talk about a little bit later. But yeah, some putting together some good results and maybe raising a few eyebrows, I think.
Yeah, some light at the tunnel for Leeds. Look like the ones out of that bottom section that may surprise someone. That we could see another big gun go this year if they can carry on producing results like that. Obviously, now aside that, I think most people have already. They've looked at what it's going to cost to fix and gone, oh, mate, you're better off scrapping it. I think that's unfortunately for Wolverhampton Wanderers. As a Sheffield United supporter, I'd like to offer hope. There are family members of mine who are Wolves fans. I spoke to my cousin who I went to visit this weekend about it, and he just said, I can't watch it. Wolves, I can't watch them. The cricket is killing me, Paul. And I was like, yep, I'm not surprised, mate, because it's been a bit dismal. It's the hope that kills you. And they had hope for a long time in this game. And then they got pegged back in the 72nd minute with Jesus, or it wasn't the second coming, but it certainly was enough for Forest to take the 3 points, wasn't it?
It was, and as we'll go on to talk about a little bit later as well, the week went from bad to worse for Wolves. Finding it so hard to create chances and score goals. I think in the lead up to this one, 7 goals all season. Jesus, as you say, settles it on 72 minutes. Brilliant bit of play from Amari Hutchinson to set him up again. Impresses, as he has done so far this season, as he did at Ipswich. Big blow for Wolves' hopes, because this was, this week they had a couple of home games and they needed to target getting some points out of them if they were to try and claw their way, back into contention. Yeah, really tough for them. You got to feel for their supporters.
We do, but we've been there, and sometimes you just have to put your hands up and say, we haven't got enough. And I think we've been there, obviously, in recent times as well. So it is unfortunate, but they'll be back next year winning a few matches and no doubt telling us about it. So I won't feel too sorry for them at the minute. And parachute payments are a good thing to have. On to Burnley and Crystal Palace. So, sort of, when Burnley got promoted, the way they got promoted defensively, the record amazing last season. Obviously, that doesn't translate straight away into the Premier League because the standards obviously on a different planet. But They're in this game again against Crystal Palace, a 1-0 defeat. Munoz, the right fullback for Palace, loves a goal, always in the attacking. He's a good lad to have on the fantasy football because they like a few clean sheets. He likes to get involved up the pitch. Gueye with a great cross as well. Mark Gueye, who I think is a certainty if fit to start for England in the summer. Burnley doing what I thought they'd do, and that's be competitive in games, but just lack the firepower to survive. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I mean, exactly how I see it. And this result obviously heaped even more pressure on Scott Parker. Palace didn't even offer that much, in all honesty, Paul. But as you say, Munoz scored just before half-time, and that was enough to settle it. And really, Burnley's goal-scoring outlet this season seems to be Zian Fleming, well, certainly from what I've seen. And if he doesn't produce the goods or create something out of nothing, they're really struggling for goals. As you've previously said, probably going to have to throw some money at it in January if they want to try and climb out of there.
Yeah, and the trouble is, it's not like, oh, we'll buy him for 20 million. That'll help us. The standard is so high. You could throw 100 million at it and still not survive. So that's something for the Burnley board to have a good think about, I'd say. On to the next one. Brighton 3, Villa 4. What a game! And we came off stream, and I went down and watched the end of this one. My word, how open was this game? And yeah, really, really entertaining. Brighton making a fist of it after Villa had took the lead. Are Villa genuine Champions League contenders? Looking at some of the stuttering bigger sides around them, do you think they are in the frame for this Champions League qualification this season?
I think having seen what we've seen from them this week and what you mentioned about sides stuttering around them, put the fact that Unai Emery is their manager, very experienced, smooth operator, knows what he's doing.
Smooth.
I keep calling him a smooth operator, don't I? And that song's playing in my head all the time.
Oh, dear, mate. You have to stop that. Jimmy's got me on the sing songs now. He does it all the time, doesn't he? So yeah, smooth operator is Unai. I'll tell you what, he's got a face only a mother could love. The Count, as we call him in our house, but he's a hell of a manager and knows how to set his teams up. I did watch him at some points, and certainly early in the season they were struggling, weren't they, a little bit? He sets his teams up with that really high line, doesn't he? And it's always dangerous. Do you know what I mean? They play so high up the pitch. Pau Torres, not really the quickest centre half either. Rely a lot on Konzu, who let us have it right. Again, another one nailed on for England in the summer. I think he's just been excellent. His improvement is beyond belief, really. But yeah, they're a good side. We'll see if they can crack on and keep going. I think the strength in depth looks good. They brought on Barkley and Onana the other day, and I thought two good players to bring on off the bench with 20 minutes to go to make something happen. So yeah, I think that they've got a lot to look forward to, the Villarites and or the Villains, as they like to be known. And it weren't too long ago they were in the Championship, so I guess they carry hope for all of us, don't they? I know they're a big club with a big history. Arsenal 2-0 against Brentford. Bit of a London derby. Saka making it look a bit more comfortable in injury time in this one. Marino and Saka, the scorers. Marino being used as the false nine, isn't he, sometimes by Arsenal when they're short of a striking option. If Gyökeres isn't fit or is unavailable, I suppose he seems to be their first choice there.
He does, and you wonder where that idea came from, because I remember seeing him play before he joined Arsenal and just seeing him as this deep line, playmaker, maybe someone that can be a little bit destructive as well. He's definitely, someone that plays deep in midfield. Where they got the idea from to play him as almost like a false nine. I guess they saw something in training, and he certainly produces the goods for them when they need him to. Obviously, he got a goal against Chelsea as well the prior week from a Saka cross. So they seem to have a good understanding as well. Yeah,
he's decent in the air, isn't he, as well? He scores quite a few headers. Thursday night, so obviously every night of the week is a football night due to the scheduling from beloved Sky Sports. But it's Manchester United at home to West Ham, which back in the day would have been a home banker. Not so much nowadays. And West Ham, who have struggled this season, getting a late equaliser in that one to make it 1-1. Disappointing the United fans a little bit, but West Ham showing a bit more fight under Nuno.
Yeah, they are, and I mean the first half in this one was quite pedestrian, to be honest. Having watched it, I don't know if that was kind of Nuno's intention a little bit to try and he knows how much the Old Trafford crowd could get on their back if things don't go well. Maybe he was looking for something a bit destructive the first half. As I say, it was pretty pedestrian. Dalot opens the scoring just before the hour, but Agassa rescues a point for them, which could prove important come the end of the season, and they needed it given the week that Leeds have had as well.
Yeah, indeed. Well, talk about Leeds, we'll go straight onto it. It's a result again that 6 months ago you'd have just gone no chance. But honestly, the fight that they're showing at the moment, and the obviously being able to score goals, 3 goals in the game we've just spoken about, 3 goals here against Liverpool. And obviously nothing better than a last-minute equaliser from Tanaka for the Leeds United faithful to go bananas, and it did sound like bananas as well. So 3-3 at home to Liverpool. I know Liverpool are stuttering at the minute, but Leeds United fans, all of a sudden, they must be thinking, "It's on, lads, it's on." And honestly, I can see it. I can see him getting out of this.
I can, especially with some of the character that they showed. I mean, just after half-time, Ekitike gets 2 within a matter of minutes. One went to VAR, I think. Potential suspicion of offside was ruled out. So suddenly they're 2-0 down. And I'm thinking, well, this game's done. Penalty decision obviously goes to VAR then later, judged correctly. And Calvert-Lewin steps up and buries it. So they showed great fight in this game. Aronson impressed me again. He had a hand in the second goal for Leeds. 3-2 though, the Liverpool goal, I have to say, the third Liverpool goal, great goal to watch in terms of just a pure technical football that steps over a Gravenberch pass for Szoboszlai, Lee's mate, to slot into the far corner. Brilliant goal. It was a great thing.
For both life. Sorry, lads, I've just spat everywhere. Don't worry about it. Yeah, difficult one to pronounce for some. But no, he's they use Szoboszlai in a number. It's weird, isn't it? He's either a number 10 or he's a right back. They're not typical crossover positions, are they? But he does a good job there. Because Wirtz has been moved out wide a little bit more, particularly since the Mo Salah saga. That might continue a little bit longer, but we'll wait and see. Not say too much on that because it's none of our business. But I think we might stay up but we have to say, spending Jack, passion for Leeds indeed. Yes, I think you might be right. I think that the board, the 49ers, might be thinking striker through the door, potential winger through the door. He's not using the guys that I thought he'd be using more. I thought Nonto and James would be stalwarts for you this season. That happened. But I certainly think there's just a little bit more quality required at the top of the pitch. And I think that they've got good defenders and a good basis to go and play. The Parker debate will rumble on all season. And I think as long as he's there, it'll rumble on forever, because I don't think everybody of a white persuasion likes it, the way he goes about it. But certainly this last week must have given him a chance of keeping his job, because I think there's a lot calling for his head a few weeks ago, weren't there?
Yeah, there were, and we'll see how that one plays out. But no, I think at the moment, justifying his position, and I think it's as we know the standard at that level. We know how difficult it can be, how difficult it always is. I don't quite get those calls from previous weeks, to be honest with you. I think it's always a risk to make the change as well, as we know. So sometimes what you know is better.
Yeah, I think some of them almost they take the bounce for granted, don't they? That it's definitely going to happen. But I think they do well, like you say, back him a little bit more in the market in Jan and see where we stand later on. Spurs at home to Brentford, London derby, 2-0 Spurs. Looks quite comfortable for Spurs. 2 goals in the first half through Richarlison and Simons, or Simons, however you want to say it. I'm undecided on him. I think he shows glimpses of quality. And we know Richarlison can be a world beater. Looked amazing for Brazil, then couldn't score for Toffee for Tottenham. He'll go 5 games scoring every game, look like an absolute beast. Then he'll go 10 games without. Simons to me looks a little bit lightweight at times in terms of his. I think he spends a lot of time on the floor, doesn't he? But he's certainly a talented player and has proved that previously. And quite a lot of Spurs fans I know really excited when he joined as well.
Yeah, and I mean, obviously, he was very influential in this game. You know, Richarlison sweeps home his cross for the first. Amazing solo effort from him for the second goal, and more of a routine home win on this occasion for Spurs as well. Thanks to that, so only their second home win of the season. They occupy 9th at the minute. They're only 3 points off the top 4. You know, for all we look at them as an inconsistent and unpredictable side, I don't know. I mean, it feels like a transitional season for Spurs. Frank coming in obviously during the summer, and a number of young players finding their feet. Would you go along with that? Would you see better things for them, say next season? Or
well, I think Frank arrives with a good rep. Obviously, very different managing Brentford to managing Tottenham. There is a clear step there in terms of what the expectation is from the supporters, the methodology and style of play. That, you know, Spurs supporters certainly see their club as a flair club. It might be a bit more pragmatic at Brentford. And I don't know, it is definitely a different animal to handle, isn't it? And I think he made some comments about feeling lucky to be there when you walk out in the stadium and things like that some Spurs fans didn't particularly like. I think he's a superb manager, and I think he's that because you can get behind him. He's a nice bloke and he's quite honest, and it does feel like he knows what he's doing. I watched a little documentary with him. I think you can access it on YouTube, and he's just a quality operator, a really good guy, and you get the feeling that the players really like him as well. And I think that means an awful lot. And sometimes that's the difference between success and failure at times. And I think he's quite a pragmatic coach. I think he sets up to play the opposition, which some managers are just like, well, this is what we do, and off you go. He's certainly somebody, I think, who sorts his team out and changes it round to suit the opposition, and a good result there. So Newcastle 2, Burnley 1. Fleming with a late consolation goal. Bruno and Gordon on the sheet for Newcastle. Once again, Burnley surviving in a game. Maybe again looking at the striking options and where the goal's coming from. It's just I do feel like they're going to lose a lot of games this year by the odd goal.
Yeah, and they're often just edged out of games as well, aren't they, by teams just with greater quality, particularly at the top end of the pitch, as was the case here. Newcastle collecting 7 points from 9 this last week, so it's been a really good week for them. Notably, obviously, Burnley had a red card in this game, so things go from bad to worse for them. Lucas Perez sent off for clipping Anthony Elanga's heels as he races towards goal. So that's not going to help them either. A real struggle for them. Difficult to see where they're going to get the goals from. And again, Zian Fleming, steps up and scores with a penalty at the end. He's really their talisman at the moment, isn't he? And he can't really see where else the goals are coming from. Yeah,
and again, when I saw him last year, I think he had a really good year in the Championship. You never know how they're going to do when they go up. And obviously, I think he's doing himself proud, and I think that their team are doing him proud at the moment. I just feel like they're not quite getting some of the results that their efforts deserve because again, just that little bit of lack of quality in the final third. On to Man City, Sunderland 3-0 to City in this occasion. Probably every promoted side's worst nightmare in it, going to Man City down to the Etihad, or up to the Etihad, depending on where you're coming from. Ruben Diaz, Vardiol, and Foden with the goals. Luke O'Nien getting his marching orders in the last minute of the game, so it won't really affect the result. But I think it's one of those. If City get a stranglehold and get a couple of goals first half, you get the feeling you're going to be chasing a few shadows in that second half.
Yeah, they just keep the ball away from you, don't they, in those situations? I mean, this result, helps them to close the gap to 2 points at the top. I have to say, Foden's header for the third goal, love that little Rabona cross from Cherky. He likes a trick, Cherky, doesn't he? And he treated us to some in the second half, particularly that one. Man City 3 straight wins. Should Arsenal be worried, mate? I think I would be a little bit.
I think Arsenal's undoing could be their injuries, because I think that when they've got everybody good to go and on the pitch and available and everything's like that, I think Gabriel and Saliba are obviously big misses at the minute. If they're gonna drop points, now's the time, because them two have been the best pairing in the league, in my opinion. And obviously with the basis that Zubamendi and Rice give you in the middle, it just says to people like Madueke and Saka, off you go, lads. Just off you go. Yeah. Go and see what you can do. And we know that Saka's been amazingly consistent in that respect. I think Gyökeres is a bit of a missing ingredient for him as a striker. I think he offers them something that Havertz hasn't been able to in terms of an out-and-out striker. Works really hard, a bit of a battering ram. Not your typical Arsenal player, but I can still see him being successful there because of the type of player that he is. Big and strong, and just a bit give them that physicality. And they've got a lot of guys, haven't they, when you think about it, in Marino and the two centre halves, Timber, like physicality at corners and things like that. No wonder they have a lot of success from them.
Yeah, absolutely. And the record that they've got in that area will stand them in good stead, particularly as they move forward towards things start to get a little bit harder. During this part of the season where you pick up injuries, and if you've got a well-drilled team that are good at those routines, it equals points. So yeah,
I agree, mate. I think it'll be those two, won't it? I don't see Chelsea being able to be consistent enough, and I think Villa will be in that little band afterwards, looking for that Champions League. But we'll take a look at the table shortly. Everton 3, Nottingham Forest 0. Are Forest in danger under Dyche of becoming like a home side who start to grind out the odd result at home and it'll be enough? It sounds very Burnley-esque and a bit Everton-esque in the way that he's gone about it so far. Certainly an improvement, certainly setting his team up to be competitive in matches. Something that I level a little bit at Ange is that he gives them instructions that the players that aren't necessarily comfortable with. And you kind of tell. I think they might like him as a character, and they'll like Dyche as a character. He's a local guy as well, isn't he? He lives there. But I think they're in danger of becoming very just those. They'll be relying on those solid home performances to stay alive this season.
Yeah, and there's an element as well of the fact that they're on their third manager this season. I think we can't ignore the fact that if there is any confusion amongst the players that came about through the Ange era, imagine being in December and being onto your third manager. It's not that we haven't seen it before, but it's certainly not going to help them, is it? I mean, Everton make it back-to-back wins with a perfect response to the previous Saturday's defeat at home to Newcastle. Just a fabulous performance from them as well, not taking anything away from Everton.
Can I just mention a player Michael Keane, who a lot of people and who I spoke to certainly think that he was done and dusted there. His form's been really good this season. His partnership with Tarkowski has formed a really good platform for Everton. Obviously, I was waxing lyrical a little bit about the front three behind the striker there in Ndiaye, and Grealish on either side, with Dewsbury Hall, who I think has been excellent for them as well.
Yes, I agree. I was going to pick him out.
Yeah. I think those three are really take Everton to the next level. I want to see Barry do well. He looks like a good prospect to me. Are they a striker away from being someone who can bridge the gap to Europe? Because I think with that solid basis they've got, Mikolenko's very steady at the back there as well. Do we think that they could be a side that, if January comes and the right type of striker opportunity comes for them, are they a side that could surprise a few in the second half of the season?
I think so. If they could find someone, and look, that's the thing, isn't it? It's the hardest thing to find in football at that level. A striker that can get you anywhere between 10 and 20 goals a season. It's the golden goose. If they could find that, I mean, certainly as you mentioned, you look at the players that they've got in wide areas and in the 10. Likes of Ndiaye, Dewsbury Hall, Grealish. You've got all the ammunition there, haven't you? You've just not quite got someone at the very top level to put those chances away all the time. So I'd certainly say with a striker and keep those players fit, there's no reason why they couldn't threaten European places for me.
Yeah, mate, I agree, mate. That's what I was hoping you'd agree with me there, Lou. Bournemouth 0, Chelsea 0, hop, skip and jump. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 1. Massive result for Villa. Massive belief for their players. The confidence they'll take from a victory over Arsenal. Like I said, if Arsenal are going to drop the ball, it's going to be right now. And they will be hoping to come back firing this weekend, obviously. But Aston Villa, after that great win down at Brighton, have come back and beat Arsenal. A week when, on paper, you might think to yourself, well, if we lose both, it wouldn't be the end of the universe because it's the hard place to go. It's a very difficult fixture against arguably the best side in the league. 6 points.
6 points, and it felt like a dangerous fixture for Arsenal. I mean, meeting Villa at just the wrong time, given their recent form. Obviously, Matty Cash puts Villa ahead, arriving at the back post after everyone misses a cross from the left. Trossard levels, and then Emi Buendia with the late winner. Arsenal were throwing bodies all over the place at this, and there was a little bit of me that felt sorry for him because I thought they did everything they possibly could to stop him, and to stop Villa, and then it runs to Buendia and he finds the finish. How far can they? I mean, we talked about it earlier. I was thinking after watching this, how far can they go? I would reiterate. I think they've got to be in contention for that top four, and what a result against Arsenal, sort of stopping them in their tracks and allowing City to narrow the gap. It's getting quite exciting up there now, I think.
I think so. I think Emery's going to be could end up being manager of the year. I think he is proving something certainly to the Arsenal fans as well. He'll enjoy that after his treatment down there, or his perceived treatment down there. That he would very much enjoy that victory this weekend. So on to Fulham and Palace. Palace, who, again, they're no longer I don't think they quite are the team that we used to talk about as being, well, it must be boring being a Palace fan. Survival every year, never quite in trouble, never doing out. Now they're winning cups. They are a well-oiled machine. The management take a bow, really. You lose Abirieze, you lose Elise, the two guys. As soon as everyone's on everyone's lips, they go, they're doomed. Guess what? They're not doomed because we'll find another. We'll go again. And Mateta as well. The improvement in him from his first season is incredible.
It is, and they're just a very well-oiled, functional team, aren't they? Defensively, very, very strong. They carry a threat up the top of the pitch. I was going to ask you, actually. I wrote down in my dossier, get a view from the mountain on what do we think of Oliver Glasner. Do big clubs come calling soon, or has it not been long enough yet? What do you think, mate?
It's so difficult, mate, because I think the way he speaks, he's a man. I think he feels like a man with integrity, and I don't think he's the sort of manager to jump ship mid-season. And the but here is, it depends who comes. It's like anything in football. He can be a star player, your favourite player, local lad, hero, etched his name in the copybooks of every. Got his picture on the wall, a statue out the front. With the right team, comes in and says, "We're going to triple your money, fella. Come and play for us and compete for these titles." It's hard, isn't it? And I don't know how well he's received by other chairmen and other clubs around the world, or what the job he's doing is received by other, on the continent or anywhere else. But I think he's certainly one to keep because he has done an amazing job transitioning from those two star players into a really good functioning side in a system that I like the look of 3-4. 3-4-3 or 3-4-1-2 or however they want to, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, fair play to him. And Mark Guehi again popping up. Just love that guy at the minute. Him and Konza, centre halves for England. Would you pick them two over Stones at the minute, mate? At
the moment, I would. I probably wouldn't have said that a year ago, but at the moment, I would, based on form. I certainly wouldn't be against it next summer, that's for sure. I'm just going to say one other thing, though, on this game. Harry Wilson's goal. What did you make of that? Because easily my favourite goal of the weekend, that little curling outside of the boot into the corner. Lovely finish.
It was the 1-2, wasn't it? He played 1-2 with Jimenez.
Yes.
Like bang, bang, bang. So it all happened like, okay, 1, 2, 3, and goal. And it was just so quick and literally, I'm not going to say indefensible because there'll be a defensive coach out there going, well, he should have been there and he should have stood here. But it was so like 1, 2, 3, and we go. And if Lionel Messi had done it, we'd all be going bananas, wouldn't we? We'd all be like, oh, no one else can do that, what he can do. And there it was, Harry Wilson, who was having a great season, by the way. Seems to, for me, has stepped on in terms of consistency. He's always had a lot of magic in that left boot of his, but just producing it on a bit more of a consistent basis now. Yeah,
excellent. And he produced a stylish goal at Spurs as well the previous week. So having a great season.
Sliding into a few dream teams this weekend, maybe. Then we're on to Brighton and West Ham. Rutter left it late. Bowen grabbing the goal for West Ham. A late equaliser for Brighton. Difficult place to go. A bit of heartbreak for West Ham, who are showing a lot more fight and a bit more of a fist of it this season now. I think the teams down there will be looking at them going, maybe they're not the team that we're going to pull into the bottom three.
Yeah, and they really needed something from this game after the week that Leeds have had. West Ham winless in their previous 3 before this. So they so nearly managed it. Brighton really controlled the tempo first half, but didn't even manage a shot on target. So the game plan, if that's what it was from Nuno, was working at that point. I think the thing that they'll be heartbroken with is that Mavropanos header that misses by a whisker at the very end of the game, which would have given them all 3 points. I don't know, Paul, do they need to back Nuno in January? And if they do, where do you think they'll need to strengthen?
It depends what Wilson does. If Wilson carries on and continues to be a threat at the top of the pitch, I don't know if you can rely on him because of his injuries. I feel like there's a number of departments where they could really improve. Ariola's had a few good games recently, but I'm not convinced by him after last season. I think there's quite a few positions, mate. Wan-Bissaka you keep, I think. Kilman, I think you keep. I like Potts, who's a young player coming on in the centre of the midfield as well. I think he's a good lad, but I think there's a number of players that could be easily replaced in that team. Paqueta let him down the other day. I still haven't forgiven him. So I know he's a talented player, but again, I can't forgive him for what he did last week. But no, I think they'll be all right, West Ham. But I don't think I can see him much higher than 15th this season personally. So don't shoot me, West Ham fans. Thank you. Wolves and Man United 1-4 in the end. A bit of a game of basketball. Wolves making a good fist of it in the first half and then getting picked apart. The defending, oh my gosh. Like the high line, how easy it was for Man U to carve through. Mason Mount for me was the player of the game and got given that. And I'd mentioned that. I was speaking to Rich at the time and just saying, I think Mount's coming of age again. Looks like a good player for them. But yeah, I fear for Wolves now. I really, really do. I think that the manager cut a very desolate figure in the interview afterwards, and Bruno's little smirk when the fourth one goes in. I want a fan. But anyway, let's get on to this table, mate, because I think we need to make sure that we're keeping good time, and so we make sure that we don't mess things up in that regard. And I think we have made some good time so far. So happy days. So yeah, let me share. I just want to put a comment from Jack as well. He thinks Man City are going to win the league. I think it's very early to say, mate, after 15 games. Obviously, it's a long old season, 38 game season, so there's still a long way to go. But that's what it looks like at the moment. Any big surprises there? Obviously, Crystal Palace and Villa occupying the Champions League spots at the minute. The challenge for them is, can they keep it going? Sunderland above Liverpool, you would have got some serious odds at the start of the year on that being the case. But fair play to Sunderland over a stuttering Liverpool at the minute. Yeah, pleased for Villa and Palace because it's good to see a little bit of a change to the status quo. Is this a two-horse race, Lou?
I think it's going to be, mate, ultimately, yes. You look at that middle clutch of teams as well, I say the middle clutch, but Palace down to Liverpool there, very tight there. But you could just see signs there of, okay, Villa are maybe the outlier, but you think City and Arsenal there looking at, and the form book's relatively good as well. There's signs at this stage that they might just start to pull away a little bit, as is what normally happens. So I don't see anyone breaking into that necessarily. Villa having a go, but I don't see them sustaining it. If I'm
with
honest.
the injuries, who's top at Christmas, mate? Bearing that in mind,
I think City. I think City are coming in. All right, they've got the defeat in the middle there of the form, but I think they're coming in hot at the moment. May well be.
Yeah, Man United fans have started dreaming again. Obviously, Everton putting some good results together at the minute. Won 4 of the last 5, which does them no harm whatsoever. So we're hoping Sunderland can keep up the hard work they've shown in the first half of the season. The teams at the bottom will not be liking the look of it because it means it's not good news for them. Because obviously they would have thought that they would have been part of the battle at the bottom, but obviously. I think it's going to be an interesting season. Should we say that? I don't see the top 4 being as obvious as previous, but I'm starting to think that 2-horse race could be the way it finishes. Now down at the bottom here, a familiar sight for Tottenham. Now Newcastle are the ones for me. I think they are the ones that they are difficult to back, and the reason is they are so inconsistent. One week I watch them and I think, wow, they should be up and around that top 6 equation, the way that they play. But you can see here, they're sat down in 12th position, but one space below Tottenham. I know Tottenham are doing better than they were before, but it's shaping up to be, I mean, the bottom 2, look at the form guide there, mate. Shaping up to be another tricky season for some. Who do you see in that relegation shake-up, and are the bottom 2 is their fate already being decided?
Yeah, I mean, it makes grim reading, doesn't it? I mean, I don't want to necessarily say that Wolves are gone, but as you say, looking at the form book there, and even for Burnley, who are on 10 points, it makes very grim reading. You look at teams above them; they're picking up points here and there. West Ham will be, they'll be in the mix. Leeds, I think, will be. But I think it'll be close. Forest, I could see pulling away, just with Sean Dyche being there. They've got a lot of quality at the top of the pitch as well, Forest. And I know, they've had a turbulent season. They're the ones that I could see maybe pulling away a little bit. I don't see Fulham over the piece getting dragged into it. I think Fulham have got enough in the tank. I'd be looking at Leeds and West Ham for that 3rd relegation spot.
Is that who you'd say, if you're a Leeds United supporter, is that who you say you think they're the ones that we need to rein in?
I would say so. I think that's where the threat comes from.
Well, I just want to relate you to Bournemouth's form at the minute. Lots and lots of red there, mate. I know it felt like Semenyo was a bit of a one-man show early doors. Are they better than that? Am I giving them a disservice with that? If he doesn't fire, do they not fire? They're in there, aren't they? And we spoke about Igor at Brentford as well, doing really well. And we were saying about how good Fulham were, but they're right there, aren't they? There's literally nothing in it. One victory for Leeds United, and they can leapfrog a couple of teams. Same thing with Forest. West Ham win, they drag Forest and Leeds into it. It could be a bit of an epic battle for that 3rd relegation spot.
I think so. And just on Bournemouth, my feeling about them over the last couple of games, I've been watching them against Chelsea and against Sunderland on the previous week. I get a feeling of a little bit of comfort there. They've almost got a little bit comfortable. They need to go back up another gear because they created chances first half against Chelsea, didn't put them away. They had the opportunity to put Sunderland to bed, in the 3-2 that Sunderland came back and won. So just getting a little bit too comfortable there at the minute for me. I think they'll be okay, but they need to give themselves a little bit of a shake, I think, moving forward, because as you pointed out, that form is not great.
Okay. Well, Thank you ever so much, mate, for joining me for the top 20 takes. We managed to get through all those fixtures, all 20 of them, in good time there. So we've got our next show, which we'll be linking straight onto all aboard the Championship. Please give us just 1 minute's grace, guys. I promise you I'll be back with my glass of water and we'll be good to go. All right. See you soon, guys. Thanks for joining us. Peace out.